Wake Up Pancreas.
I'm Danny.
I'm Alex.
Alex.
Yes.
Happily married.
Yes, we have.
But that's not why we're here to talk. So this is our first episode of Wake Up Pancreas. We decided we were going to do a podcast because we have a 5-year-old daughter with type 1 diabetes. So we said, you know what? Our life is an adventure every day. And why not
share it?
Yeah, why not share it with people around us? Because I think when she was diagnosed, it probably would have been nice to have something other than educational videos out there.
Yeah, something that helps us out. By the way, we have an outline. Hopefully we follow it. I don't think we're going to follow it. This is once again very informal. And this is not for, we have absolutely no medical advice here. We're just talking about our experiences with our type 1 diabetic child. The whole podcast is basically going to be everything from planning, going backpacking. We are a military family, so we move around a lot. So sometimes we have to store her diabetic
like insulin and for long car rides that are probably, the last one was like 24 hours. So how do we keep her 3 months supply of insulin from going bad? Things like that we hope to explore with this and maybe add a little bit of laughter to it because we don't want to take it too serious.
No,
I mean, it's just life. You can't take it too serious.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of Wake Up Pancreas. This is our new podcast.
Yes,
I'm Danny.
I'm Alex.
And we're here because we figured, why not talk about type 1 diabetes?
Why not?
We have a 5-year-old daughter, Marcel, who was diagnosed about 2 years ago.
Yep, a fireball.
And our thought process was, there's so many educational videos out there. Why not just create something where we talk about our daily life, how we thrive, where we struggle, and kind of just how we live on this adventure.
Yes, everything from waking up at 02 in the morning because her sugar's beeping at me. And she's usually in, let's say, 50s, and I got to give her something to drink, either a juice or some candy to munch on. Or
talk about struggles trying to enroll her in school.
Yes, or daycare.
Sports. There's so much that we just figured there's nothing like this out there. So if our experience can help you, why not?
Why not? All right. Let's go into how we found out she had type 1 diabetic.
Oh, great question. Wow. So back in 2020, I think that's probably the funny part. Everyone rolls their eyes like, oh no, 2020, the pandemic. And that's when we found out, actually. She was only 2, soon to be 3, and it was probably 2 months before she was diagnosed. We started noticing that she was regressing. She was wetting the bed. She was going through 2 to 3 pairs of clothes at daycare, and for a while I was like, this is just behavioral. Every, I'd say 30, 40 minutes, she's like, I have to go to the bathroom. Yes. And she's like, what the heck? What is going on? Why is she stressed out? Why is she regressing? Is kind of where the thought was. And it wasn't until about 2 months later, and it slowly started getting worse. Daycare would say, she drank a lot of water today, or, she went through all her clothes. But it wasn't until, I would say, Halloween, when we went trick-or-treating. You remember that?
Yeah, we went. It's around 7 o'clock at nighttime. Colorado, by the way. So it's cold.
Yeah, always cold. We went out, I think, trick-or-treating for about an hour, and within that time, she had to go home 3 times to go to the bathroom. And it wasn't just a little bit. It was super diluted out urine, and it was large amounts. And that's when I started noticing, maybe something's up. But I should also tell you, at the time, I'm currently an advanced practice registered nurse. None of this is medical advice. Let me just say that now. None of this. This is our personal experiences, and that's it. But when going through school, a lot of times I would say we all go through this phase where we're just catastrophized, thinking, oh my gosh, there's a lump. We must have cancer. We're dying. What's wrong with us? And then we're like, no, chill out. It's literally just a swollen lymph node. You're sick. Not a big deal. And I started going through that with her when I realized, I was like, she's going to the bathroom all the time.
Yeah.
What's going on with this? So I was like, you know what? Let me put it all together. Let me use this schooling of mine. And I was like, lots of urine. Is she drinking a lot? I don't know. I was like, I think she has diabetes insipidus, which is essentially like a hormone imbalance, and you can't dilute your urine, so she just goes a lot. And in my head, I'm like, that's it. It's super rare, but my child has it, is really what I was thinking.
Not me. I was thinking she's peeing a lot. Why is she peeing? By the way, she was potty trained at this time, so we're trying to figure out if she's potty trained, what's going on, why is she peeing a lot. I'm trying to figure out why. Maybe we're feeding her too much water at the time, but at the same time, it's like it was almost uncontrollable. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't so Halloween, I think, was a Saturday that year. And that Monday, because so all the doctors are closed, I'm like, I'm going to make a doctor's appointment. But what do I need to know? If I was the doctor, I would say, I need to know how much water is she drinking? Is this just behavioral? What else is going on? So thinking that she has diabetes insipidus, I'm like, we need to know how much water she's drinking. So I took her to the daycare and I said, I know she's been drinking a lot of water. Can you just keep track of it? And at that time, the teacher turns to me and says, I didn't want to say anything, but that was the first time that my dad was a diabetic. And I looked at her, just kind of shook it off, and I was like, yeah, cool story, dude, but that's not what's going on with my kid. Like, my kid does not have diabetes. It's diabetes insipidus is really what I was thinking in my head, completely in denial.
What's diabetes insipidus?
Oh, that's when you have an imbalance of specific hormones. I won't go into all that, but essentially you can't concentrate your urine. Okay. But they're different families. Even though they have the same name, they're not in the same families. It doesn't have to do with sugar at all.
I thought it was the same thing. So I was okay.
You know what? I can see that because it has similar names, but no, it's actually not. It has nothing to do with your blood sugar. So essentially, as I'm leaving the daycare center, I'm running through my head and I'm like, okay, someone with diabetes have polydipsia, polyphagia, and
Okay, I'm rolling my eyes now.
Polyuria. So this is me telling you what these are. So she's eating a lot, she's drinking a lot, and she's peeing a lot. Those are usually
that's easier to understand. Thank you.
Those are usually the key signs that someone has diabetes. And in my head, I'm going, okay, yeah, she's peeing a lot, but eating a lot, she's always ate a lot. And everyone will always tell you that she will put it away, but she can't put on weight at all. Mm-hmm. And then, so what is that? Eating, and drinking. Yeah. But we were in Colorado. It's super dry. And what do we all do when we're in Colorado?
Drink a lot of water.
Tons of water. People just fill up water bottles constantly. And she could do that. Yeah. So I was like, is she drinking water? Well, I'll find out at the end of today. But the one thing that I couldn't seem to put my finger on was type 1 diabetics tend to lose weight before they're diagnosed. And she wasn't losing weight. Mm-hmm. She just wasn't gaining weight. She just kind of stayed where she was at. So when I went to pick her up that afternoon, the teacher told me that she drank 15 cups of water. A 2-year-old, 15 cups of water.
I forgot about that. That's a lot of water.
Yeah. But I still tried to say, you know what? It's not diabetes. Don't worry about it, Danny. It's not diabetes. But you know what? We're going to take her to urgent care just in case. Yeah. So as I'm taking her in the urgent care, I'm just like, I know, and I say it out loud. I'm like, yeah, so she's here because she is urinating large amounts of pee, and she's drinking a lot. And after I said it, I was like, if I was a provider right now, I'd be like, girl, your daughter has diabetes. You literally just told me that. So the nurse goes back, talks to the provider, comes out and says, yeah, we can't see you. You need to go to the ER. I was like, what? I was like, you just confirmed what I was thinking, my biggest fear. Okay. So luckily, Colorado Children's was right down the street. Mm-hmm. Took her there. In the waiting room, she had to go to the bathroom. Yeah. So I had to go up to the person at the front desk, and I was like, I need a urine cup. I know they're going to measure her urine. Going through my nursing background, I was like, they're going to look at her urine. They're going to look for ketones. I'm like, I need that. I need to catch it now. So luckily I got a urine cup. They took us in the back. They were very surprised I did that, but nursing background. And then the provider came in, and again, I knew exactly what to say that aligned with diabetes. And on top of it, I said, we also have autoimmune diseases in the family. Because I was scared that the provider would say, this is just behavioral, brush it off, and wouldn't do anything.
At the same time, you guys got to remember, we have 2 kids, so our oldest was at home, and this is Halloween, right?
It was right after Halloween.
Right after Halloween. So he's with me at home, and we're just kind of waiting patiently, trying to figure out the news. And Danny is keeping me posted, but at the same time, it's almost half the story. I don't really get the full picture till later on the road.
Yeah. So the provider said, well, hopefully it's just behavioral. And then they came in, and I can tell you, honestly, the ER is a blur because all I know is 2 nurses came in, a tech came in, they checked her sugar, and they said, I saw the tech turn to the nurse and say, it says high, what does that mean? And she said her sugar's over 600. And then they looked at me and said, how long has she been a diabetic? And I was like, since now. Like now, I was like, since right now. And they're like, oh, okay. So they drew some blood, doctor came in, complete blur, like what you see in the movies when like someone gets bad news and it's just like silence around them.
Tunnel vision almost.
Exactly. I just looked at him and I was like, please stop talking. I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, I have no idea what you're even saying to me right now, besides that my daughter has type 1 diabetes. He also told me that he's like, you don't realize how lucky your child is right now to have you and your husband at home, because most kids her age, so at the time she was 2, come in really bad shape. And afterwards, being the analytical person that I am, I had to look it up. I was like, what do you mean they come in bad shape? If I remember right, don't quote me on this, it was like a 25% mortality rate for kids that young.
Everybody's going to Google that. Just so
I know.
Right.
I know. They might. Okay. And the study I looked at, so because typically when someone's diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, it's like they're in DKA, so diabetic ketoacidosis. Their blood becomes like acidic because they're burning fats, essentially.
Okay, so it becomes poisonous to the body?
Yeah, essentially. Okay. And we caught it before she shifted into that acidotic state, the acid state, I should say. And most of the time that doesn't happen. So if we weren't so in tune with what was going on with her, it could have turned out really bad. But luckily, we found out. I know I texted Alex that night when I was still there. I'm like, actually, I think I called because I was like, I don't think I can do this through a text message. I need to call you, and I can't even like talk right now and stay calm so that because I see her like trying to be like, I don't know what's going on because I mean she's 2, and I called you. Do you remember what you were doing when I called?
I have no idea what I was doing. It's the same. It was a blur. All I remember is you're describing that she has needles and it poking and wires all over the place, right?
Yeah, they had her all hooked up. And then after that, I mean, they gave her some insulin. And because I am a nurse, they said, you know what? You can take her home. You'll be okay. And come back tomorrow morning and we will do a 3-hour appointment. And they got us in with a specialist the next day. But it was a scary night because even though you may give insulin a lot, as a nurse and you deal with patients that have type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, when it's your own child, it's different. Yes. It's like everything goes out the window and you say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I remember that. That was one of the scariest nights because we did not know. I'm talking about, we had a sticker, right?
We had the sticker. She didn't understand what was going on.
She didn't understand whatsoever, and crazy.
I know that we specifically had to check her sugar at 2 a.m., so we had to set our alarms and...
I think I took off work that day, right?
Oh, yeah, you took off work the next day.
We had an appointment with the hospital or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Colorado Children's Endocrinology.
Yeah.
Our 3-hour appointment, and we'll just kind of talk about what it was like the first week and where we went from there. Yeah. So stick with us. Hopefully you can learn something from these adventures of ours. And that's it for Wake Up Pancreas.
Yeah, Wake Up Pancreas.